My name's Kenny Dyal, and welcome to Season 2 of the Scuba Diving Podcast. Regular guest Michael Kest is joining us for the so controversial split fin debate. Do you love them? Do you hate them? We're going to talk about it. We're actually pretty objective, as objective as we can be. We both use a lot of different fins. We use a lot of different fins. We've done some testing with these split fins. So I hope you enjoy the show.
There are bad split fins out there. I've also used some very good split fins. Actually, only one pair I've ever really enjoyed, which is the atomic ones.
Right.
Those particular ones I have found to be more effective than most of the blade fins.
Yeah.
And I will tell you why.
Okay.
I've tried every fin under the sun, the Mares, jet fins, Seawing Nova, which most people don't know was actually the original engineering of that was the same guy that later went and did the split fin.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like them until I learned to kick differently with them.
Right.
That was my first thing. And then I found out over time, over a long period of dives, over a long dive or 2 or 3 dives in a day, I was not getting the fatigue as I was with the blade fin. I didn't feel like I was getting anything. But if you play that sentence back slowly, I didn't feel like I was getting anything. That was kind of the point. We can't tell whether we're going 2 knots or 2.5 knots underwater for the most part.
Yeah.
What I could tell was I was going fast as anyone else or faster, and I was also not getting burnt out, or my legs weren't burning or anything like that. And I was able to also use those fins in a large aquarium for many days, for many dives every day for years in an exact identical environment, which is basically how you do a science experiment.
Yes.
And we had all the different kinds of fins there, including those, and it was night and day.
Yeah.
And what I've found is the people that don't like them never learned how to kick them properly, or just didn't feel, if they weren't getting that burn and that friction, they must not be going very fast.
Right.
And that's an understandable thing. And it tends to be the bigger the guy, the more they would say that.
Right.
I'm a big guy. I want to feel the burn, so I know I'm moving. I want that gratification. It's not going to give it to you.
Yeah.
The way it worked was if you push a blade down in the water, just a flat, like if you take this rectangle, this is obviously a subpar fin, it's an Android. If you push this down in the water, you get this swirl, right? And it wants to go one way or the other. If you do it properly with a split in the middle, there's some other engineering that goes into it, but a split, it allows that water to vent up and it actually naturally goes forward in a straight line.
Right.
I've had people say, why would you cut something perfectly good? Well, I mean, that's a very scientific anecdote there.
Stupid comment.
It's just, that's the stuff that keeps the stupid
Right.
going. And I know it's just playful, but
Yeah.
if you look at fish fins, dolphins, fish, they have a split in the middle.
Yeah.
They're pretty good at moving through the water. They're a little better than us.
Right.
You don't see any flat whale, dolphin, fish. Almost all their fins have some form of split in the middle, and there's an engineering reason why.
Right.
A lot of split fins aren't good. They're just not well engineered. They are floppy, and they just sort of.
Right.
The other thing I've heard is if you're in a current, that's actually the dumbest argument I've ever heard.
Right.
That's like an aircraft saying, well, the air speed's up, we're not going as fast,
Right.
even though you have a faster jet engine.
Right.
That
No, I
doesn't
agree.
matter.
That doesn't make any sense.
That makes no difference. Probably never
Speed
going
is relative to what it is.
Speed is relative. You're moving through the water. Yeah, it's relative. If you don't understand that, if you say, well, I don't get enough power in a current, then we're probably never going to see eye to eye because we have a physics understanding problem there.
Yeah.
So fine. The other thing, the last thing, they did do a speed test with those atomic split fins. And that's the only split fin I'll back.
Right.
There may be some other ones out there. The ones I've tried I didn't like. I did like that one.
Yeah.
Tried nearly everything under the sun. But they did a speed test with those, a few other popular ones, and then the Mares plano fins, or plano,
Yeah, something like that.
something like that. The popular Mares fins a lot of people have.
Yeah.
I had those fins 2 different times.
Yeah.
They did the underwater speed test. There was a real test done with this. They did slaloms, straight throughs. What they found was the one that you used, the Mares fin, I believe was about the same as the atomic split fin. They beat all the other ones.
Yep.
What they found out later is if you kept going,
Yeah.
the Mares fin started burning out.
Yep.
Because of the friction. Atomic split fin's the winner, whether you like it or not. All right, let's hear the prosecution. Prosecution wishes to speak.
Yes, I do.
All right, let's hear it.
So here's the thing. Everything you said is absolutely correct. Not only is it correct, I will not only say that the tests that they did are correct. I did my own tests in a large controlled environment using both the Mares fins that I use, those the atomic split fins, the Scubapro
Seawing
Seawings,
Novas,
to test the speed of all of them and a starting point and an ending point with turning in it and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Every single time I did it, the atomic split fins won. 100% of the time, and they won. Usually, it was a long distance. It was about a 6-minute swim. They usually ended up winning.
It took you 6 minutes to go 203 feet.
A little longer than that. Remember, I said there was
pi r
turning.
squared. Hold
I
on.
said there was turning. Anyways, but I did it, and every single time, and the times on all of them were pretty close, no matter, because I made sure on different days I did one first and then the other one first, and they were almost all the same in terms of what the times I was getting on them, within a couple seconds each time. With the atomic split fins, generally in about a 6-minute swim, generally we're about 15 seconds faster. Every single time. The Mares and the Scubapro were within 4 to 5 seconds of each other, but they were approximately the same, and they were about 15 seconds behind. I still like the Mares better, and let me tell you why. I do a lot of frog kicking. I do a lot of different kinds, using it, when I'm doing photography and all that kind of stuff. They are far superior to the atomics for that. If I'm just a new diver.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, if I'm just a new diver, just wanting to swim, I'm not doing all that other kind of stuff, there's no question the atomics are faster. But speed isn't the only thing.
There's burn.
Well, no, there is, and that's true, and there's no question.
Like fatigue, I mean.
Yeah, fatigue. And that's, I think, the reason why that 6-minute swim towards the end, because at the beginning it was fine, but I was definitely feeling it with the paddle fins like that. But there is an advantage to the paddle fins when you're, you're doing a frog kick, you're trying to stay in one position where you're turning around.
Also, if you're running lines, you don't want the split if you're running lines. It's a snag.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No, they're not. They're not for tech.
But I think what you said at the beginning, as much as I would love to disagree with it, is correct. I prefer the truck, which is the paddle fins.
Tesla.
I was going to say McLaurin, but whatever. Either one. But try towing a boat up a hill with McLaurins. It's not designed for that. Designed to go fast.
I think it's McLaren.
McLaren?
Yeah,
McLaren?
it's McLaren.
You sure it's not McLaren?
McLaren.
I don't know. Anyway.
Like
that's
Ralph
not the point.
McLaurin. It's McLaren.
It's
McLaren
not
F1.
It's not Ralph McLaurin.
No, it's not. I know.
No, but the point is, you are correct, and I still want the ones I have because they have more usability for what I do. But after doing those tests, I was like, well, I'll be damned.
Well, and that's
faster.
I appreciate that because you were biased, and it's very hard to not be biased.
I was absolutely biased, but when you're going probably about 600-700 feet in those with turns and everything else, the point is there's only so much bias you can put into that. If you're really going on each of them, eventually you just go, well, crap. First time I did it, I was like, I must be just that's not right. Then the second time I was like, third time I'm like, this is what it is. Like there's no getting around that. So
now I see what you're saying though. So the atomic split fins have been proven for regular recreation, just swimming around, to be lower exertion, and they are the fastest.
Yep, no question.
And we've proven this. There's been magazine articles that have done it. You've done it firsthand, and you don't even like them.
Right.
But what you're saying is when you start doing other things,
like when I'm taking video,
frog kick.
when I'm taking video going backwards, frog kicking or something like that.
So video specifically, I actually still like the split fins, not because they're as good at it.
Right.
They tend to be a little less jarring. I find it's easier to keep a smooth. I don't get the push.
Right, because you're not as good.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
But yeah, there's
Also, if you have to tow someone in an emergency, I'm not sure how that would go because you can't do a proper kick that you're supposed, like a little flutter kick that you're doing with a split fin. You know, not as hard. It may be problematic.
Yeah. Now there is one fin that we didn't talk about that I've seen a lot of instructors use that actually makes a lot of sense, but kind of maximizes both the advantages and disadvantages using like freediving fins. Which I totally get it for instructors or someone who's spearfishing or something, because you can get a lot of speed, but man, they will tax your ankles like nobody's business.
Right, it's like putting big tires on a
right,
car.
Exactly. And it works, and they'll go faster than any of them by far.
I use them sometimes.
Yeah.
For shooting video, if I'm going to be blasting fast, like if it's a fast video where I'm going to be... Then,
but you can't do it for
no,
like after at the end of a dive, they will wear you out. So I mean that's the thing. And again, like we talked about with all the other gear, it's the trade-offs. Just understanding the trade-offs, understanding that nothing in life is free, and dive gear, that is doubly true, because anything you get is going to have a trade-off, and you just got to decide which thing is more important to you.
Just sticking what you're comfortable with. If it's working and you're happy and you're enjoying yourself, why not? you know, and there's
Well,
nothing wrong with that.
if it's an old rubber mask, then because it's going to break eventually.
Right. But then there is a trade-off. Like, are you really suppressing growth? And okay, you're enjoying it this much. If we just fix these few things, you can enjoy it this much.
Yeah, and you're not going to end up in the middle of a dive where your mask just really... I actually had rubber fins that literally ripped apart in the middle of a dive, and then I was like, that was a few years ago, so...
And the jet fin is another big one that a lot of people love.
That's what it was.
That's a big... I've seen those break.
Right.
Like the rubber actually
No,
break.
That's literally what happened. It just ripped in half in the middle of a dive.
Yeah.
Like I just went to kick and it went... But they were also 35 years old.
Yeah,
so.
that's same with the ones I saw. They were used for boat cleaning.
Right, yeah.
Which is going to destroy anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But the jet fins are another big one. They're very good at frog kicking. People like that feedback. They like to feel the burn.
And it is feedback. There is no question on jet fins. You get feedback.
You do. You really just have to take an unbiased approach. Are you using these properly before you cast stones?
Right.
And it's not all the same. Like there are multiple brands of jet fins. I know some are better than others. I have a Hollis pair of those. I like them for certain events. I like atomic split fins for certain activities.
Yeah.
And I use my free diving fins while scuba diving for certain activities.
Right.
But I think if you get yourself, pigeonholed into one line of thinking, you're just going to typecast yourself as one of those guys.
Yeah. The caveat to all this, maybe this is a good way to end it, most modern day fins will be sufficient for whatever kind of diving you're doing.
Yep. Nobody wants to hear that.
Nobody wants to hear that. But as much as we look at it and go, why are you wearing those? The truth is,
we're splitting hairs.
We are splitting hairs.
Yeah.
The thing
Splitting
that the
fins.
one where I will not split hairs is when you see someone come on a boat and have snorkeling fins, like those rubber ones that are like half blue, half yellow, that like this big, and you go, no.
Or the little deep sea
honey,
split
you can't
ones,
use
or the
those.
Nat Geo ones that come in the $25 box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't use those. But all the rest of them,
Scuba grade fins.
scuba grade fins, you're going to be fine.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed the show. I just want to say I appreciate your efforts, but you don't have to send us a treasure chest full of gold, unless you actually have one. But you can always drop a 5-star review or even go to sweetwaterscuba.com to support our channel with a small contribution, or become a member, which gains access to all the interviews uncensored and everything in one hub, and especially my personal online courses where I share all my experience and knowledge with you so you can take what I've learned and run with it. Plus, we send our members custom art postcards that actually show up to your physical mailbox every month. Any and all forms of support are appreciated, and at the end of the day, I'm just glad you're here. Hope to see you underwater soon.